Hello, good day everyone. My name is Yusuf Idi Maina, and today we are going to write a smart contract for a to-do list app, and we will use sCrypt for this smart contract. So in case if you don't know what is sCrypt is a TypeScript framework for writing smart contract on BSB blockchain. So if you want to learn more about sCrypt, so I will drop a link to the official documentation in the description of this video. So firstly, for someone that want to start writing the smart contract with sCrypt, so you need to install the sCrypt CLI globally in your machine. So you will do that by npm install -g sCrypt -CLI. So this will install the sCrypt CLI globally in your machine. So after that, you will create a new project by running npx sCrypt -CLI projects, then the name of your projects. So in this case, let me say demo, for example. So you just write demo. So then you will create a project, and the project name will be demo. So let me go straight to the point. So I will not create a new project because I have already has one. And when you create your new project, it will come with bundles like this, with artifact, with the node modules, and test files, and the contract files, and even the deployment script. So this is what your project will look like. So without wasting our time, let's move on to write the smart contract that we will use in the development of our decentralized to-do application. So we will start by writing the class, and the name of the class will be to-do list, and it will extend the smart contract base class. So it will extend the smart contract base class. So but maybe you will be using this file in another file, so you have to export it. It is very good idea to export your class. So in our contract, we are going to develop a to-do list app, and this to-do list app will take a task. And so let me define my new type. So let me export it again, and then my type will be, let me name it tax. So this is where I will keep information of my tax. So then what will I need? So I will need the description of the tax, and it will be of data type byte string, and I will also need to whether the task is completed or not. So I will use this, and I will pass a boolean to it so that I can check whether this task is completed or not. So after that, I will, since smart contract with sCrypt, or I can say on Bitcoin, we don't support unlimited array, so the array has to be fixed size. So I will need a maximum task count of my to-do list application. So I will make it to be static and read only. So it will be like a maximum, let me call it tax count. So let me make it to be like a 10 is okay. So the maximum count of the contract of the tax will be 10, and also I will need a property that will store this array, and the array is of name tax, and this array, what it will do, it will keeps our tags, since we are going to keep a maximum of tags count, 10 tags count, and it will hold the tags for us, and it will mark whether this task is completed or not. So this array, this one will be true, since I will be updating the array and I will be checking it whether it is true or not. So this one is a small letter. So let me update it there. Oh, the property is still there. So let me forget to write that decorator. So this is the problem. So it will be pics array, and the type is my defined type because I have defined a tags, and it will be type of our maximum tags count. So the class to do list that maximum tags count. So this is our array, and after this array I think we have to track the count of the tags. So when a tag is created or added, it will update the count, and when a tag is deleted, it will decrease the count. So the count too should be also a stateful property. So the difference between stateful and non-stateful property is this true argument. So when you pass a true to this property, that means it will make that property to be stateful, otherwise the property will be stateless. So this property, I'll call it like tags count, like it will be tags count, and it will be of data type big integer. So I think this is all what I need for this contract. So I will then my constructor, and this constructor, I'll first my tags count to it, my tags count, and the tags count is of data type big integer. So that's it. Then I'll first super. So this super is a must, is necessary in the constructor. It will be the first statement in the constructor, and all the parameters in the constructor must be passed to this super in the same order. But if you don't like it, you can just write split arguments, and this is also correct. So let me initialize my properties in the constructor. So I will use this dot tags count, call tags count, and also this dot my tags. So I'll call it tags, and is equal to, I will use field. So I will also pass my tags and state whether it is completed or not. So for the tags will be tags, let me call it tags, and it will be, it is a byte string, and I'll pass, make it to be empty, and the boolean is completed will be pause. So is completed, make it to be pause, and then the length, the number of our pics array that will be filled is, I will use the to-do list max count. So I have initialized all my properties in the constructor now, and I'm good to go. So after that, I will need actually two methods, and each method is very important because the first method will add a to-do list, and I think the second method should be called when a to-do list is completed. So the first one, let me write a method, and it will be public method, so that someone can interact with it. So I will call it add tags, and I will pass my parameters. The tags will be of data type my type tags, my defined type tags, and I will pass an index to a tag. So this tags index will be of data type big integer, so I'll call it tags index. So the data type of it is a big integer, and this is a public method, so it doesn't return anything. So the first thing I will need to do when you call this contract is, I think you should update the count. So it should be this dot tags count. So let it be add an assign. So actually I don't want to be using plus plus, so add an assign 1, and my tags will be the tags with the tags index. So I will use this dot tags, and I'll first cast it to number, so since it is big integer, and I will use the tags index here. So that's it. So I think this is what I will do. Then I will update the state, because the contract is stateful contract. So my output will be const output is equal to this the build state output, and I will pass the UTXO value. So this dot ctx, the context UTXO dot value. So, and I will handle the change output in case of change. So I will use this dot build change output. So this will handle the change in case of any change. So, and also I will make sure that the hash outputs of the transaction, the outputs of the script context should be the same. So I will double check to if this is my output, and equate it with the hash output of the script context, ctx context dot hash output. So in case of any error, I think if the hash output mismatch, so it will write to the console hash output mismatch. So this is the first method called add tags, and the function of this method is to add a tags to the to-do list. And the next method is the tags completed, and the function of the method is to mark any tags that is being completed. So I will write a method. I'll call it this is public, so I'll call it tags completed method. So tags completed, and it will take a parameter of tags index, the tags index, and it will be of data type also big integer. And this function will also takes the tags, so I'm declaring a variable tags, and it would be the tags with the index number. So this the tags, and I will cast it to number, so I'll call it tags index, and also if this method is called, it will make that incompleted that is supposed to be true. So it will mark the completed flag to be true. So we will do that by this dot tags, and also first the index, tax index, and it will be of number, and because it's in there. So then it's completed and it will be equal to true. So, and after that I will also build the state output. So const output equals to this, the build state output, and first the utexo value. So this dot context dot utexo dot value, and in case of any change, so it will directly use the receiver's designer's address by default and process the change output. So, and also I will assert that the hash outputs of my outputs and the hash outputs of the script context are equal. So I'll do that by our assert, just to make sure that the hash 256 of my output is the same as that of the script context. That is context dot hash outputs. In case of hash output mismatch, then it will print hash output mismatch. So hash output mismatch. So this contract is very simple and easy, and it will directly add a tax to a to-do list, and when tax is completed, it will be updated, and its completed flag will be turned to true. So this is a simple to-do list, and I will test it now using the Mocha framework, JavaScript framework. So if you look at the files here, under the source directory we have a file to-do list, and this is our current file of the contract. And also under the test directory we have a file for testing the contract. So I already have some modules imported. So let's continue testing the contract. So we use the sCrypt, and I'm testing the smart contract to-do list. So let me capitalize to-do list. Oh yeah, so and it should be asynchronous, and let me use the before hook so that I will but before that let me get instance to be the to-do list so that I can use it globally. So to-do list, and also I will declare the tax index, and also my to-do, which will be a type tax. So I will use tax here, and will be my tax description, and is completed flag. So for the tax I will to be to byte string, and I will call it let's say first tax. So got typo, first tax, and make it to be true. So this UTF-8 and is completed will be pause. So that's it. So I will use the hook before and compile, load the contract artifact and initialize my contract. So use before and async, okay. Then I will wait to-do list to load the contract artifact. So this artifact, by default it will come to this folder, artifact folder. I'll load this JSON file, and you can manually pass the file path of your artifact, but by default it will directly load the artifact file. So after that, I will also connect with the signer, or let me get the instance first. So instance equals new to-do list. Then the constructor is let me go back, look at the constructor. So it is tax count. So the count by default initially 0, and I will connect with the signer, instance dot connect. So I will use get default signer, get default signer, and I'm done. So after that, I can easily start testing the public methods. So it should pass add tax. So it should pass the add tax public method, and it's asynchronous async, and let me compile the contract. So await instance that deploy, and I'm locking 1 satoshis. I'm deploying the contract with 1 satoshis, and we'll get the next instance of the contract. So comes next instance will be equal to instance.next. So this is the next instance of the contract. So after that, I will update the count. So that means next instance dot tax count, and I will add and assign 1 to it. So it will update the count, and after that I will get my tax index to be, let me call it to be 0, so I can use it. And after that I can easily call my function. So let me call it call equals async function, and also I will await. So I will await the instance that methods that add tax, and by default is my to do. I will, yes, this is my to do variable of data type tax, since in the contract the parameters of the add tax function is tax and the tax index. So here I pass the tax, now remain the tax index, and the tax index will be my tax index, which is 0. So tax index, and the next instance should be, go to next, and next should be the instance, which is the next instance, and the balance. Sorry, the balance should be next instance, or instance dot balance. I'm sorry, instance dot balance, and as method I will use method call options, and this method call options should be, oh sorry, I supposed to, let me, so I will have another curly brace. So let me, so as method call options, I will use method call options, and I will pass the contract class to-do list app. So this is for the first methods, and after that I think I will return the promise. So I will expect the function should not rejected the promise. So call function, so not to be rejected, or not rejected, simple. So to not rejected, and so I think we have finished with the add tax method. So let me move to the, so let me just copy this, and I will, so this one is for tax completed method. So tax completed, so tax completed method, and should be minus 1. So, and after that, so I didn't think, let me run it first. Oh sorry, yes, it should be -1, and the tax count will be 0, and also the next instance, and after that I will also pass the next instance of tax to be true. So I will next instance dot tax, so should be the index. So let me do it under this transaction index, and this index. So since I'm going to use the tax index, so next instance dot tax, and then tax index dot is completed should be true, since the tax is completed. So, and also the argument is tax ID, yes, not the, there is no to do here, since in the contract we don't have tax in the completed, so it's only the tax index. So I also pass the tax index, and the next instance is the next instance instead of balance. So I think there is no any issue, so we can easily run our contract. So let me save it. So let me run the contract. So I will run it by npm run test, and you hit enter. So it is now compiling the contract. So the contract has now run successfully. So this is not the case, so I think we have to make sure that the contract is working as expected. So I want us to print out to the console the task and whether it is completed or not, and when we call the task completed method, we want to see the task and the completed to be true. So we are going to do that by using the console log, and to make sure that everything is working as expected. So we are going to do it now. So I think we do it to the, so let me use this. So for the add tax contract, so we are going to console log print to the console log the, let me call it tax added. So it will print the tax added, and also will be, so this byte string, I will from buffer from, and to do for the tax, and this array buffer, and also the tax. And after getting the tax, I will also convert it to hex. So hex, and after the hex, then to string utfh. So to string, and it is utfh. So for this utfh, so this will print the tags to the console, and after getting the tags, we can also get the flag where the tags console log is completed, is the tags completed. So we can also get that. So let's see whether our smart contract is working correctly. So it will be todo dot is completed. So this is where we will get the is completed flag, and we can even print the, so let's check this and also run it for the other contract, completed contract. So we will do that by also getting the tag. So let me copy this and paste it there. So I will just use the next instance. So let me paste it here. So there should be next instance, dot tags, should be dot tags, and first the index, tags index dot is completed. So it should be like that. So let me run it and see whether it will print out to the console. So this one should be tags completed, but it is running already. So as you can see here, the task added is the first tag as we already declared in the to do, and also the task completed here is true because it was completed. So I forget to edit this to be task completed, since the task should be completed at this state. Completed. And so here in the to do, the task is a paste task, and we can even get the task count. So we will do that by console.log, then we print the task count, and should be next instance dot task count. So we can even print the task count on the console. So let me rerun it again. So this is it. So as you can see, the task added is the first task, and is completed is false. The task count is 1, and the task completed is paste task, and is completed true. So when I call this method add task, it adds this task to the to-do list app, and when I call the method completed task, it also remove this task and mark it as true. That means that the task is completed. So I hope you enjoyed this video.